All right, I think we can start with the webinar for today. I don't think we're going to expect more people joining. So Sandro here and Azura from Malaysia.
Hi.
So today what we're going to talk of is, oh, it's not changing. Okay, today we are going to talk about the island and beach extension in Malaysia and Borneo. During this webinar, we're going to cover different points, starting with an overview of the country, with a geographical and climate aspect. And then, of course, we're going to go through the possible beach extension, island and beach extension in Peninsular Malaysia, looking first at the East Coast Malaysia, and then looking at the West Coast of Peninsular Malaysia. And then again, going through what are the possibilities in Borneo, so looking at Sarawak and Sabah. The presentation is pretty small. We should be covered all that in about 30 minutes. If you guys have any question, I would appreciate if you could send a message on the group chat, and then I will reply to you on the group chat or also during the conversation. So, overview of the country, geographical climate aspects. As many of you know already, probably, Peninsular Malaysia is affected by the monsoon season. We have two different monsoon seasons. One affecting the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia, which start late in October until the end of February, making impossible the connectivity to the islands of Perhentian, Lantenga, Redang, until the islands located on the southern tip of the east coast, like Tioman, Rawa, and so on. So basically, from October to February, there is no chance, and we do not recommend to go and visit those islands. Regarding the west coast, the monsoon season is from April to August, and is not as bad as the one that is actually affecting the east coast. So basically, visit to Langkawi or visit to Penang or visit to any of the cities or the coast of located in the west coast is still possible. So Malaysia enjoys a tropical weather year-round with temperature from 26 to 34 degrees. Of course, during the monsoon season, probably there is 1 or 2 degrees less, which of course make the climate, the region a little bit more pleasant for people traveling from Europe. Borneo with Sabah and Sarawak are not affected by the monsoon season, so people can travel to from Kuching, Kota Kinabalu, and all the islands around Sarawak and Sabah throughout the year. However, again, as a tropical country, rainfall must be expected almost on a daily basis. A short shower in the afternoon is almost always guaranteed, let's say. So, Peninsular Malaysia, East Coast. We're going to start from the north. So, there are numbers of islands over there. The one that we usually say are Perhentian, Lantenga, Redang, and Gem Island. Then traveling down the coast, there are a number of islands but are not developed to tourism, and there are no resorts accessible, but there are a numbers of beach resorts, starting with Terapuri, Tanjung Jara, Kasturi, Holiday Villa Sheraton, and Swiss Garden Kuantan. The first three, Terapuri, Tanjung Jara, and Kasturi, are very high-end resort with prices that start from 130 euro per room per night. Most of them, especially Tanjung Jara, are not family friendly, so are more recommended for couples or honeymooners. Kasturi do have a numbers of family rooms or family chalet that can host up to 4 or 6 people. But of course, there is a price for that. And Terapuri also is not very recommended for family, even though a number of extra beds can be allocated in the chalet. Traveling further down on the east coast, we have the islands of Tioman, Rawa Island, Besar, and Cebu. All those islands are reachable mostly from the jetty of Mersing. However, Cebu Islands is reachable from the jetty of Tanjung Leman, which is farther south in the region. And Tioman is reachable from Mersing and also from another jetty which is located farther north, which is called Tanjung Gemok. Ferry to Tioman takes about 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, depending on the weather or on the sea. Speedboat to Rawa Islands or Besar Islands takes about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It's pretty close to the coast, so easy to reach. And also to Cebu Islands resort, the speedboat takes about half an hour, so between 20 minutes to half an hour. Something that I would like to highlight, or just start to present today, is the Zaru coast, which is located again farther south in the region, and is a new development. A number of resorts are coming up. Big resort, we're talking about a resort with over 200 rooms. Is something we're still looking at. We don't have a clear information. We still don't have the contract with the resort. We don't know whether beaches are suitable for kids, whether the sea is crystal clear and people can swim on it, or whether the beach are affected by sandflies and so on. So this is something that we are working on, and we're going to present it again possibly in the near future once we have more information. So again, something to highlight regarding the weather and regarding the accessibility to islands or beach location. This area is affected from the end of October until February. So this is wrong. Anyway, from the end of October until February by the monsoon season, making it impossible to reach the islands, and anyway, weather won't be nice to be in those locations. Here we have an overview of the accommodation that we use, divided into the islands. So those are the accommodation, the resort that we recommend to all of you to book. Of course, there are more of that, especially in Perhentian or especially in Tioman. But those ones are the ones that we focus, are the ones that we usually send our clients, are the ones that we have a lot of feedback, are the ones that we usually can work easily with the management. So it's probably, if you guys are going to send a request, those are the resort that we're probably going to offer to you, depending on the budget, depending whether it's a family or not. So we're going to manage the request based on those information. So in Perhentian, we have Tuna Bay Island Resort, Bubulong Villa, Cozy Chalet, Cocoat, Perhentian Island Resort, Coral View, Mimpi, and Ombak Resort. In Lantenga, we usually only work with one resort. In Redang, we usually sell 3, Cora Redang, which is our preferred, then Laguna Redang, which we usually offer more for families, and then the Taras, which is high-end, suitable for couples or honeymooners. In Gem Island, only one resort, again, is Gem Island Resort. Rawa Island, again, only one resort, Rawa Island Resort. Pulau Besar is Aseania Pulau Besar. In Cebu Island, Sari Pacifico Pulau Cebu. And in Tioman, we mainly focus on those 4. So Bejaya Tioman Island Resort, which is suitable for family, couples, high-end, since there are different categories in the resort. Minan Cove is a beautiful, nice, cozy resort which only has 13 or 14 rooms. So it's definitely suitable for people that are looking for a certain, to be away from the crowd, let's say. Probably the people looking to go to Minang Cove are the ones that are probably not going to book for Bejaya, which has over 200 rooms, let's say. Minang Cove, again, give me some information about Minang Cove. As I say, there are 13, 15 rooms maximum. It's a secluded resort reachable only by boat. So the other people cannot walk to the resort unless they swim or they take a water taxi. After Minang Cove, there is also Tuna Maya, which we recommend a lot. Also for families. However, even if it is a family-friendly accommodation, rooms only can fit 3 beds. All the rooms, all the configuration of the bedding in the room usually have 1 double bed and 1 single bed, and there is no room for an additional bed. So for larger families of 4 or 5, usually 2 connecting rooms or two rooms next to each other are recommendable. Then one more resort that we recommend in Tioman, sorry, is Javamala Resort. Beautiful resort, very cozy, boutique style, only 13, 14 chalets, very high-end, and suitable and recommended for honeymooners or couples. Talking about the islands, snorkeling activities is available almost in all the islands. However, diving and dive resorts, there are only in Tioman, Perhentian, Lantenga, Redang, Rawa Island, and Gem Island. But if there are a number of locations that we can focus, that is recommended to dive, is definitely Perhentian, Redang, and Tioman. All the other locations, especially for advanced diver, can be a little bit boring, shallow water, only going around reef. So it's not a very interesting dive, let's say. Next one, again regarding Peninsula Malaysia, we're gonna talk about the West Coast. In the West Coast, there is a little bit less to offer in terms of island and in terms of beach resort. Mainly because the Straits of Malacca has a very shallow water. The water is not as crystal clear as it is in the East Coast, I would say. There is still tourism traveling to the West Coast, but it's mainly local, and the resorts available are not suitable, for our clientele. Anyway, starting from the north of the region, everybody knows Langkawi. Langkawi is a beautiful island, offer different resorts for all the budgets, starting from very budget accommodation, very budget hotel, suitable for backpackers or people traveling on budget, up to very high-end resort, including Four Seasons, Westin, Melidus Pelangi, Datai, and many other resorts with rooms starting price around 600 euro per room per night, something like this. After Langkawi, in this slide, I also highlighted Penang. However, I don't really recommend Penang as a beach stay, as an island that people can go around, snorkel and sunbathe and so on, but should focus the visit to Penang to experience the culture, to experience the heritage and the history of the town. We stay in the town itself and not in the beach resort. However, beach resorts are available for people that are looking for something different, probably. And there are also a number of resorts that we can recommend, including Park Royal, Lone Pine, and Holiday Inn, which is perfect for family eventually. Again, traveling south on the west coast, there is the island of Pancor. Beautiful island, not very much developed. Tourism in Pancor is still, yes, sometimes there is a lot to offer, and sometimes for some reason there is not much. The only resort that we usually recommend are three. One on the budget side is Anjungan Resort, which is not located exactly on the beach, but is 15 meters away from the beach. People usually need to cross a very small road, and they will end up on the beach. Then the other resort that we offer is Tiger Rock. It's Tiger Rock, sorry. It's not a beach resort, but it's a beautiful, secluded resort on top of a hill with a beautiful, nice swimming pool. Tiger Rock only offer packages, full board packages that includes lunch, dinner, and breakfast, and includes also all the transfer around the island. So people, if they book a stay in Pancor, basically, and they wanna travel to the nearest beach or to visit the islands and stay in one of the beach and spend a day around there, all those kind of transfer are included within the package. Price per person is around. It's not a cheap resort. Let's say prices for a full day, as I say, per person would be probably around 130 euro ish. But again, it's very beautiful, beautiful accommodation, very boutique style, with all those Chinese houses built on top of this hill. And service also over there is just amazing. Another accommodation that we offer in Pancor is Pancor Laut, which is a very high-end resort with prices of the accommodations about 120 euro per room per night, between 100 and 120 euro per room per night. Again, depending on the category available at the resort. Okay, now we're going to talk about Sarawak, and of course, Azura will start with that.
Okay, so in Sarawak, despite being the largest state in Malaysia, it's not known for its island or beach, and for Damai Beach Resort and Cromarian Forest is the only properties is located in Santubong Peninsula, which is just 30 minutes away from Kuching City. However, snorkeling and diving are not available here. Next, we go to Sabah in Borneo still. Sabah, in the other hand, offer an amazing islands. They have 5 diving destination in the world, which is Sipadan. Best top 5 diving destination in the world. Sipadan, accessible with stay in Mabul or Kapalai. So at present, we only recommend one beach stay in the region, located 20 minutes away from the Kota Kinabalu. So beach stay, we have a Nexus Resort.
Not far from Kota Kinabalu, again, as we mentioned earlier. Then, of course, again, not far from Kota Kinabalu, we have 2 islands which are accessible.
Which is one is Gaya Island Resort and another one is Panga Island. So Gaya Island Resort basically is a high-end resort, and the prices is almost similar as Pangkola Resort because they sign the same properties. And Sepanga Island, usually we offer to the budget stay Malaysian. And for the island, which is Langkayan Island Resort, should be the best diving spot for the guests. And another one is for Selingan and Libaran Island. The highlights is only the Turtle Island, which they have a conservation area.
I'm sorry, they're doing some renovation above, and there might be some noise coming up.
Okay, and in other hands, we also have Kapalai Island and also Marble Islands, which is also good for diving stay. And for Sipadan, I might need to highlight that this is
but for people staying in Mabul and Kapalai, they have the accessibility to go and dive in Sipadan Island. Sorry. However, there are people that want to guarantee a dive in Sipadan. They need to purchase a package of at least
4-night stay,
5 days and 4 nights stay, and have only 1 day dive in Sipadan. So the other dive will be around Mabul or around Kapalai, which are still beautiful islands which are still beautiful diving destinations. Something to highlight regarding Selingan and Libaran Island. Those islands are usually recommended. People visit those islands usually because they want to experience the turtle line eggs during the night, or release the baby turtle at the sea. The packages that we usually recommend is usually 2 days and 1 night. In Selingan Island, the chalets available are pretty basic. In Libaran Islands, there are no chalet, but it's a sort of a glamping stay, which is again a little bit more basic, with facilities, toilet and shower to share with the other guests. The number of tents usually throughout the years in Libaran Islands are only 14, so usually there are 28 people. However, during the peak season, probably July and August, some tents can be added, and so the crowd in the island can be a little bit more than 28 or 30 people. I believe that's it for the moment, especially for Southern Borneo. Yeah, that was all for this webinar. If you guys have any questions, you can share it or write it in the group chat, and then I'll manage to reply to you. Okay, we have a question from Katarina. While diving, what can you see? Well, it depends. And let's say that people need to be open on everything. In the east coast of Peninsula Malaysia, in Perhentian or Tioman, Redan, can be seen black-tip shark, can be seen flying mantas, hammerhead shark, but it always depends whether you go, how deep are you going to be. And of course, are not guaranteed. Otherwise, basically, most of the dive, especially for Perhentian and Redan, are in shallow water and would be around corals, let's say, coral reef, where people, of course, cannot expect much, but still can manage to see probably turtles, black-tip shark, and parrotfish, bumperhead, and so on and so on and so on. Traveling to Sipadan, of course, people can expect a little bit more. Almost guarantee hammerhead, almost guarantee sharks, flying mantas, and big school of fishes, let's say, including turtles as well. We have another question from Anders. We usually can book Scuba Junkie, and I'm not sure if you are aware, but Uncle Chang, sorry, in Mabul caught fire 2 or 3 days ago at the beginning of the week. For at the moment, Uncle Chang is not available. One more question from Adi. Sorry, just to come back on the question from Anders. Apart from Scuba Junkie, we can also book other resorts, SCDC, which is Sipadan Dive Resort Center, sorry, and then one more located at the beach.
Mabu Beach Resort.
Mabu Beach Resort.
And then it's Mabu Water Bungalow.
Mabu Water Bungalow and another resort. But of course, especially for you guys, Anders, we focus on Scuba Junkie if available, since it's more related, let's say, to your clientele, let's say. One more question from Adi. We said that, yeah, we're going to initial sub 20 minutes. Okay, the resort that we're talking about 20 minutes from Kota Kinabalu is Nexus Karambunai, and I was there 3 days ago. It's very safe. Kota Kinabalu is very safe. Sabah is very safe. The comfort of Nexus is a local 5-star, but we can say that probably in the international scale is 4-star. Very nice, large room. Some of the room has been renovated recently, but also the old rooms anyway are very large, very spacious. And yeah, anyway, in terms of price, we're talking about 110 euro per room per night. So if you look at the region, if you look at Kota Kinabalu, as a beach stay is very affordable, let's say. Otherwise, then there is a Shangri-La, Rasaria, and it's double the price. So we're talking about more than 200 euro. Or if people wants to travel to the islands or Gaia Islands, of course we have Guyana Resort, Guyana Resort, Bungaraya, and then we're talking about from 200, 180 to 300 euro per night, let's say. I hope, Adi, I managed to talk to
answer the questions.
To answer the question. One more question from Anders. Yes, we can arrange a budget camp in around the Kinabatangan, not Uncle Tan, but we are in talk with the COPEL, which is one of the NGOs available around Kinabatangan River, and they do very nice activities, and they cooperate a lot with local villages, and they do also a numbers of responsible activities. We can eventually also book Uncle Tan, but in terms of service, Uncle Tan went down a little bit, and we do recommend COPEL. I will definitely work out something before next Wednesday and send you some packages of prices for what we can arrange around the Kinabatangan in terms of camps. But yes, we can arrange it, of course. Any other questions? Okay, one more question. Sorry, guys. One more question from Heike. Tioman and sandflies. Sandflies can also be found in Perhentian or Redang. The issue is that in Perhentian and Redang there is much more development, and that's why the number of sandflies are not as matching as in Tioman. Also, the northern region is less affected in terms of tides. Tioman, when there is a low tide, the tide is is affecting more the beaches, let's say, which of course is more suitable for sandflies. But with all the team, we've been to Tioman,
September,
October, and we've been staying in Berjaya Tioman, and we've been traveling around to all those resorts. Nobody had issue with sandflies. Same in the same region, Rawa Island doesn't have sandflies. I don't know why, but and Pulau Besar, which is 5 minutes by boat ride between the two islands, between Pulau Rawa and Pulau Besar, does have sandflies seasonally. So again, they are there, but seasonal. We don't know when they're going to be there or not. And anyway, if people apply sunscreen, usually helps a lot, because sandflies usually they don't like oily surface, let's say. So against the sandflies, usually apply a little bit more of sunscreen, and that will help already. That's good. Any other questions? Any other question, guys? Don't be shy. Okay, if there are no other questions, okay, one more. Okay, one more question from Eke. She's asking whether island hopping is possible around Tioman. Unfortunately, no. Mainly because Tioman is about between 35 to 40 kilometers from the coast, and there is nothing in between. It's very dangerous with a speedboat to go from one island to another island. I did it myself a couple of years ago, and I was with anyway, I was with somebody, AK. I will let you know later. But I do not recommend to our guests. It's not safe, and then of course choppy sea is unpredictable, so it's something we don't recommend. Other island hopping between Rawa Island and Besar Island is possible. As I mentioned, it's just 5 minutes between each other. I do recommend to start in Pulau Besar in Besar Island, and then go to Rawa Island, since the service in Rawa Island is a little bit more higher, let's say. But there is a big difference in price between the two islands. Both of them, they offer package full board, but for Pulau Besar, probably per person is €80 per night, and it's around 100 to 110 if we are talking about Rawa Islands. So yes, it's possible, but only between Pulau Rawa and Pulau Besar, not around Tioman. Unfortunately, not around Tioman. It's not possible to do island hopping. However, we can still schedule. People can get a ferry, very early in the morning from Tioman, go back to Merzing, and then take the speedboat from Merzing to Pulau Rawa or Pulau Besar. So eventually, yes, but it's a little bit more complicated, let's say. Any other questions?
Most welcome.
All right, everyone. If there are no more questions, we can close it here. Thank you all that managed to make time for this webinar, and I hope it was helpful. Thank you very much from me. Thank you very much from Azura, and I'll catch up in the next webinar. Bye, everyone.
Bye.